Way back when I flew the mighty F-15 Eagle, I would say the jet did, I don't know, 90% of the work. I mean, it got me airborne. The engines powered me. The wings gave me lift. The systems, they helped me to navigate. They helped me to find where it was that I needed to be. They helped me to target what I needed to target. They gave me, the jet did, the weapon solutions that were necessary to send to the missiles and to do all the stuff. And all of that was to one degree or another automated. Now, what couldn't we automate? And the answer is trust, in flight judgment, the split second decision making to break formation, let's say, and to go save my wingman. And my experience was that once we as pilots learn to harness the technology, and that's something that has to be trained to, by the way, we spent most of our time learning how to make the right calls, how to make good quality decisions in an intensely human way to be able to win together as a team. And in my estimation, today's workplace is heading in the exact same direction. The machines, they're going to do probably more of the work going forward. And we humans, we're going to do all of the leading and all of the teaming, along with all of the validating of what the machines are doing to make sure that they're doing the right things. And so let's talk about how to be intensely human in a world of increasing reliance on AI. Welcome back, my friends, to Roll Call with Cujo. Is your team playing to win, or are they just running out the clock? And what's your role in all of this? Fellow leaders, welcome to Roll Call with Cujo, a place for leaders who want to win bigger. Let's together get ready, let's prepare, let's go. Welcome back to Roll Call with Cujo. And as we think through the recent trends here, we've talked about debriefs, we've talked about standards and how important they are. We've talked about psychological safety and how that's a foundation upon which everything else is built. Today, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about a topic that's keeping a lot of people up in the world of business late at night that is related to all of the above, but in a slightly different way. Let's talk about AI and let's just acknowledge that it's changing everything and that nobody here really knows what the landscape is going to look like 24 months from now. And let's recognize that in the midst of all of this stuff, how we lead truly matters, because there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear in the world, and it's up to us to try to address that. And what I want us to do is to walk out of here coming off of this session with a framework that we can use to help us to lead through these changes, even as we don't know what's going to be coming here in the future because of how fast things are going. And so let's start off and let's talk a little bit about what's happening. Let's go and gather some data. And I'll start with this statement. I think it's important. And that is that the more that AI can do for us and does for us, the more valuable the intensely human leader becomes. So, what do I mean by this? World Economic Forum, they released a report last year that said that 92 million roles will be displaced by 2030, with, on the upside, 170 million new roles created. Goldman Sachs, they estimate 300 million jobs globally will be exposed to AI automation. Pew Research takes all of that and says, all right, more than half of US workers are worried or anxious about AI's impact on their jobs. Go back to the World Economic Forum, they say that the top skills for the years 2025 to 2030 include analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience and flexibility, leadership and social influence, as well as AI and big data fluency. And if you just notice right there, World Economic Forum is saying that we need a lot of human skills in the midst of all of this. Here's the bottom line. Your teammates, they're reading these same headlines. Some of our teammates are putting their heads in the sand and they're saying things to make themselves feel better, like it's never going to affect me. In my industry, I cannot be replaced. No robot's taking my job. No AI system can do what it is that I do. And they're just staying somewhat blissfully ignorant of the changes that are happening. Others, though, are scared, 100% scared. And scared teams underperform. So our job as leaders, formal and informal, they just got bigger, not smaller, and it requires us to be much more intentional in how it is that we lead. And I think the folks that have their head in the sand, I mean, there's some goodness, I suppose, in just being immune to what's happening to some degree, but it's not a wise strategy overall. We probably want to talk to them, but it's the folks that are worried and scared today that I'm really concentrating on. All right. So, what might we do as we navigate this as leaders in today's world to breed some confidence? Let's first of all return to frameworks that work. Let's secondly really focus on sensing what the truth is on the team. And then finally, let's start really rewarding human teaming. All right. And making it like the thing that we expect from our human teammates is to do more, not less human teamwork. Uh, but when I go back to frameworks, and we start out over here, what I'm really talking about is, and this pulling from the world that I come from, in a world that was made possible through the reliance on technology. I mean, the F 22 is one of the most amazing aircraft ever conceived of, let alone built on Earth. Got the chance to fly it, amazing weapon system with so much technology. And yet, even with all of that, I was taught how to use frameworks to be able to use that technology correctly. And I go back to what I said in the debriefing session. No matter what airplane I flew, no matter how technologically advanced it was, when I had an emergency, I always maintained aircraft control, analyzed the situation, and took appropriate action, and then landed as soon as conditions permit. And that framework, those words, they saved me. They were so useful to me. And they allowed me to make high quality human decisions in the midst of a technology enabled world to be able to return home safely. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about relying on the human frameworks to help us to navigate all of this stuff that we're dealing with the right way. And it's so important that we emphasize that right now, especially because of some of the slop that we're seeing coming out of an AI enabled world. And I'll tell you, on my team, I've directed, hey, we're going to harness the full capability of AI to enable us to be more efficient, more effective. We got to understand it in order to be able to teach people that are navigating through it. But oftentimes, what that means is when I ask for something, I get something that was generated by an AI system. It's clear that very little human thought went into it. Maybe there was some prompting that was done, yay. But the thing that I get back, whatever. It's something that I instantly shred. Because part of that is that AI is going to generate for you anything that you want it to. And oftentimes what it does is not good. And we need to be aware of that and not outsource thinking to it. Oh, let me give you some examples of this. All right, good. Harvard Business School, Boston Consulting Group, they did an analysis. They tested 758 consultants. And when the tasks that the consultants ran through AI were in the AI's wheelhouse, the consultants using AI crushed it. They performed 40% better. But when those same consultants were navigating complex business problems with a clear right answer, the consultants using AI were 19% less likely to get the right answer compared to those who did not outsource to AI. And what's even worse here is the fact that when warned that the AI might be wrong, the consultants still trusted it because the AI's writing was so persuasive that it fooled them. So that's a problem. Another thing is, and there's so much on this right now, AI is really like, in many cases, just a yes man, built to make us feel good. 2026 study in Science, and I'll have the links to all these reports below, tested 11 top AI models. AI affirmed users' actions 49% more often than humans did. It agreed with users even when they were doing something illegal, deceptive, or harmful. So just think about the implications to accountability when you're doing things that are illegal, deceptive, or harmful. And you're arrogantly thinking, oh, it's okay because AI told me that I'm good, which then becomes an addiction because it's nice to be told by something that sounds like a someone that what you're doing is good. Being gaslit into thinking that bad ideas are pure genius, not a strong human trait. Good, here's another thing. Turns out AI will lie to you to maximize profit. Harvard Business School ran a model. They had 20 commercial AI models run a simulated vending machine business for a year. AI was told not to break the rules, just told to make money. So, what did the AI do? It engaged in a massive pattern of deliberate misconduct. It denied valid customer refunds, lying that defects were normal. It invented fake corporate policies to block returns, and it colluded with competitors to fix prices. Why? Well, AI reasoned that thinking about how to get a refund and what refund to give and all that stuff cost compute time, which also costs money. And so it just started denying things automatically to save cash, which is what it was told to do. So another alarm bell is AI is going to hit the target that you give it. And if you put it on autopilot, it might cut corners, it might lie, it might expose you to massive risk. And then there's this thing. It gives us the illusion of being the objective judge. Harvard researchers tested whether AI could help evaluate creative proposals. And when the AI gave its reasons, expert reviewers were just as easily fooled by bad AI logic as rookies. And people surrendered their good judgment to the machine, failing proposals 9% more often just because the AI said so. And so just because it sounds smart doesn't mean that it's not completely wrong. And outsourcing our thinking to something that's just telling us largely what it is that we want to know isn't the strongest play. So as we navigate all of this, and as we collectively as human teams try to make sense of the world in which we operate, the practical best move that I can offer is rely on your human life cycle processes, keep those things fully active, plan as a team, brief as a team, execute as a team, harnessing AI for efficiencies and for effectiveness where that makes sense, and then debrief like always. Using AI for the tasks that it can be trusted to be outsourced. For example, summarizing a meeting. Nicely done. But then being human where only humans can be, like running a debrief. Human skill, a debrief, by the way, actually a set of human skills, harnessing an incredibly human framework to help us to learn, something that AI cannot do. And that's point number one, rely on the frameworks. Second point is, let's start harnessing emotional intelligence to truly sense what our teammates are feeling and really where we are. And if I think back to my time in a fighter squadron, one of the things that I'm so grateful for was working for commanders and leaders who were able to walk into a room, immediately read the room in 10 seconds or less, figuring out who's stressed, who's coasting, who needs a word of encouragement, stuff that AI cannot do, things that we want to train people to be able to do, which is going to be even more necessary as so many people subordinate thinking to outside. And in today's world, being able to truly sense how people are coming to work is really important, especially given how much people are struggling. So I'll reference this book here again. I always talk about it in my training, Blind Spot. I forget who introduced me to it, but I'm so glad that they did. It really influenced me. It still influences me, and I'm going to read to you a couple of short selections from it. I think it's necessary reading, especially in today's world. We take a look at what you and I are concerned about as business leaders, all the numbers, marketplace concerns. One of the things that can get lost in the mix is not acknowledging how unhappy people are today and what that means to us at the team level. And what John Clifton, Gallup CEO, documented for us is that unhappiness is now at a record high. And he said this in 2021. According to Gallup, people feel more anger, sadness, pain, worry, and stress than ever before. And the delta between people that are happy and unhappy has widened over time. And where most people tend to focus is on trying to achieve happiness. One of the things that Clifton is saying is that that's the wrong focus area. Because if people who are already happy get happier, that's not really the problem. It's the folks that are struggling that need the attention. And according to Daniel Kahneman, increasing happiness and reducing misery are very different things. He said, I would not focus on the positive end. I would focus on the negative end. And I would say it's a responsibility of society to try to reduce misery. And in those things that people feel, the anger, the sadness, the pain, the worry, and the stress, one of the things that we as leaders need to be able to do is to recognize it so that we can address it properly. And I asked my current batch of Top Gun Teamwork students in class the other day, what are you looking for in the midst of chaos and disruption from your leaders? Like, what do you need from your leaders in order to be happy there? What they said was a sense of calm, a sense of stability, a sense of honesty and ownership, emotional intelligence, positivity, the ability to share, level-headedness. All right. So, one of the things that we need to know is when it is that we're in the midst of all of that to change how it is that we lead. But sometimes our reality is different from our teammates. And we don't realize that they're actually living in that while we're at peace. And so it's up to us to be scanning, to be using emotional intelligence cues to figure out who here is struggling and suffering so that we can support them through this. And that means leading with check-ins, not just checking off the checklist and saying that we've got the tasks done. It means finding ways to see the human side of things more, especially if we're in a distributed workforce. It's easier for those of us that are coming to work in a shared facility, seeing each other day in and day out, and getting a sense over time of how people are doing. In a distributed setting, it's really, really hard to get that true sense of how people are doing. And so that means leveraging more, not less, video and telephonic interactions, and doing less, not more, Slack, texting, and email interactions, which kind of spoil the well for us and give us a false sense of what's happening. They might even be misread and cause us to have a false sense of security, which is a bad thing to have. And if there's another thing that AI cannot do for us right now, it's hold a face to face meeting where, through subtleties of expression, subtleties of tone, subtleties of overall demeanor over time, we can get a true sense of how things are going. That's really important. And then the final piece is to reward people for doing human things on human teams. All right. What do I mean by this? I go back to another thing that I reference all the time: Friday roll call. And yeah, this, what we're doing right now, is called Roll Call with Cujo. It comes from the fighter pilot business, where every Friday we get together for roll call. And what's interesting, even when I flew F-22s, when we got together in these human settings in the squadron bar Friday afternoons, we did not spend time talking about technology. I mean, maybe there was the occasional, hey, I can't believe how awesome this was, or did you know that there's this new feature? Maybe, but truly it was mostly us talking about human things in a human ways amongst a bunch of human beings. And the thing that we rewarded was extreme humanness. When somebody came in that setting shared a huge mistake that they made, we did a toast to them. When somebody came in and talked about a real challenge that they had that week, we did a toast to them, and we rewarded them for being human, helping us to be better humans moving forward. And that became one of the things that we strove to achieve. And I just wonder, where is there an opportunity for us to reward humanness on our teams in the midst of so much AI disruption? Because what really matters right now is the ability of the team to handle all of the changes that are happening on such an epic level, by the way, and it's such a fast pace, and to still maintain their humanness in all of it. To not outsource thinking to machines, to be able to understand how the team is faring in the midst of all this, to give encouragement where it's needed to be given, to give oversight where it needs to be given, all those kinds of things. That's even more important today than it has been in the past. And human beings need to know that if they're going to survive and thrive here in the company, that they're going to be rewarded not just for understanding the technology pieces, but for being able to lead effectively and to team well with that. And that has to become the standard. And so we need to find those rituals like roll call and protect those rituals like roll call, to protect the humanness of the human teams in the midst of all of this. And as we think about all of this, I want us to think through some of the traps that exist for us right now, some of the minefield that we've got to navigate as we move forward. And these are kind of two sides of the same coin. On the one side, there's the, hey, we've got to automate everything now trap, which can run the danger of leading with technology and losing the team. Then there's the other side, which is the, hey, we'll adapt later trap once things have stabilized, which is dangerous because your competitors are probably doing the opposite and later may be way too late. On the other side, there's the, hey, AI is going to replace the entire team. We're not going to need humans. It's all going to be robots. I firmly believe that that's never going to be the case ever. And I suppose on that side of the equation is the, hey, soft skills are optional trap because it's all technology. No. What we should be walking away from today with is saying soft skills are now the necessary skills that we have to navigate. World Economic Forum report, they say it instinctively, it makes sense. And that's the thing that we need to emphasize right now, which, by the way, helps give hope and confidence to those who are scared as they consider the implications of an AI-enabled world and how they're going to survive in it. And so here's your sort of Monday morning play, if you will. Pick a mission this week. Okay, one of all of the different missions that you've got. Pick one mission and really focus on being intentional about achieving mission success in a very human way. Now, this doesn't mean avoiding AI. It means using it to augment, to support, to do those things that it can do really, really well, but not to supplant the human interactions that are needed at the team level. Achieve your mission outcomes, hopefully a success, and then debrief it. Now, in the debrief, we're going to harness the learning for sure. And what I would really emphasize is the piece of how AI helped and how it hindered in accomplishing mission success, emphasizing how important the human team was in achieving mission success, emphasizing what it is that you learned as a team that AI would never have told you, to help reinforce the concept that we still need human teammates in a world of AI, period, dot. And I think that's going to serve you, all of us, exceptionally well. Good. And as we close out this roll call message, realize this. AI, it's still probably going to be writing your emails. It's going to be running your forecast. It might even help draft your strategy for you. But what it's never going to do is build a team that runs through walls for you. And that's still going to be your job today, 12 months from now, 24 months from now, and beyond. And I think it's truly the highest leverage work that you can do in your company right now. That's my firm belief. Good. So that rounds out this roll call episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you keep on coming back for more. And I look forward, my friends, to meeting with you again, same place, same channel, next week. Keep winning. Okay, you've got the playbook. Now go run the play. Don't just listen, act. And thank you for joining Roll Call with Cujo. If you found that this was helpful, please leave us a review. Please click subscribe. And most importantly, please share it with a leader who needs it. Now let's get back out there and keep winning.